us on a special day, a day of remembrance here in the United States. It is September 11th. This is supposed to be a day of unity when we come together to remember those who were killed and to pay tribute to those who rushed in to save them. The president paid his respects this morning at 6:32 a.m. He tweeted this photograph along with the message, "We will never forget 9/11." And then 10 minutes later, he tweeted, "The Federal Reserve should get our interest rates down to 0 or less, and then we should start to refinance our debt. Interest costs could be brought way down." So I guess he forgot, is what happened. Who thinks like that? Whose mind operates in such an oblivious way? Although I guess it's better than this infamous tweet from a few years ago when he wrote, "I would like to extend my best wishes to all, even the haters and losers on this special day." So he's really growing up. He's maturing. Trump spoke at a memorial event at the Pentagon today where once again he claimed he went to ground zero after the attacks to pitch in. There's no evidence of this whatsoever. I guess we're supposed to believe he went down there to help and didn't tell anybody. Yeah, that sounds like him. You know, he's not the type who needs accolades. He's just a quiet man who likes to lend a hand. And the president also had some tough talk for terrorists today.
If for any reason they come back to our country, we will go wherever they are and use power the likes of which the United States has never used before. And I'm not even talking about nuclear power.
Well, what kind of power are you talking about? Girl power? I don't know. What does that mean? I don't know, maybe he's planning to spray tan them to death? I don't know. And by the way, those terrorists he's warning not to come back, I wonder if they're the same ones he just invited over for s'mores at Camp David. Trump also took time on this solemn day to weigh in on another important subject. I say this a lot, but this really tells you all you need to know about this president. So moments before he headed out to participate in a moment of silence for the victims today, he lashed out at a poll that has him trailing his Democratic opponents. He wrote, "If it weren't for the never-ending fake news about me and with all that I have done, more than any other president in the first 2.5 years, I would be leading the partners of the lamestream media by 20 points. Sorry, but true." He's upset because there's a new Washington Post ABC News poll that says he is trailing not just one, but 5 Democratic candidates, led by Joe Biden, who leads him in a hypothetical matchup by 16 points, which is great news for Democrats because, as we know, these polls are never wrong. They're always right on. 16 points, though, is a big gap. Even Putin is like, "Sorry, comrade, I can't help you with that one." Trump says these polls are out to get him. He claimed that same poll had him down 15 points to Hillary Clinton, which is not true. They had him trailing her by 4 points, which was more or less how it came out. You know, she lost the Electoral College. She won the popular vote by 2%, which was within the margin of error. And that margin of error is now our president of the United States. So tomorrow night, here on ABC, the top 10 Democratic candidates for president will square off in Houston. And because this is a live event airing on network television, not cable, ABC and the DNC have issued a warning to the candidates asking them not to use 4-letter words. ABC News sent an email that said, "We will not be broadcasting on any delay, so there will be no opportunity to edit out foul language." Which I don't know. That doesn't seem fair to me. I mean, what if Bernie sciatica is acting up? What if someone asks Beto if he likes Queens of the Stone Age? How, under those circumstances, how are they supposed to not curse? Meanwhile, though, the president extended a surprise invitation to reporters today. He invited them to join him in the Oval Office, where he announced plans to put a stop to a newly identified menace.
We have a problem in our country. It's a new problem. It's a problem that nobody really thought about too much a few years ago, and it's called vaping. Especially vaping as it pertains to innocent children. And they're coming home and they're saying, "Mom, I want to vape."
Is that how they're doing it? I don't know. Well, at least the kids are upfront about it, you know? Donald Trump has never had a conversation with a child. Apparently, Melania is behind this initiative. She saw that video of the kid online who got very sick from vaping, and she said, "Donald, do something."
Vaping has become a very big business, as I understand it, like a giant business in a very short period of time. But we can't allow people to get sick, and we can't have our youth be so affected. And I'm hearing it, and that's how the First Lady got involved. And she's got a son together that is a beautiful young man, and she feels very, very strongly about it.
She's got a son together. Let's have another look at that, if we could.
That's how the First Lady got involved. She's got a son together that is a beautiful young man.
Or so I hear. I've not seen him for a while. He better not be vaping. Flavored e-cigarettes are being blamed for the deaths of 6 people over the past year. And many of the people who vape are young people, so Trump now wants to ban them to protect children from being harmed or killed. And I think that's good. I'm fine with that. Hey, you know what else harms and kills children? Assault rifles do. So I don't... Maybe if the NRA starts flavoring those, you'll ban them too. There are new details explaining the abrupt departure of Trump's latest national security advisor, John Bolton. Trump says he fired John Bolton. Bolton says he resigned. And while we don't know how exactly it went down, we do know now why it went down.
Bolton was especially disliked by the North Korean regime. He and the president also clashed over how to proceed in Afghanistan. But CBS News has learned the final breaking point came from reports that President Trump wanted to deploy nuclear weapons against hurricanes.
Why would that scare him off? What is he, working for the hurricanes? Nuking hurricanes is how Sharknadoes get started. Did you know that? The president has been... I guess he's been annoyed by the reporting of this story, which has basically been that Bolton was against him inviting the Taliban to sleepover camp and didn't approve of these warm relationships he has with Vlad Putin and Kim Jong-un. So he gathered the fake news together to give his take on why Bolton bolted.
John is somebody that I actually got along with very well. He made some very big mistakes. And frankly, he wanted to do things not necessarily tougher than me. You know, John's known as a tough guy. He's so tough he got us into Iraq. That's tough. And, you know, John wasn't in line with what we were doing. And actually, in some cases, he thought it was too tough what we were doing. Mr. Tough Guy.
Sounds like a real dope. Who hired that guy? I mean, whoever did that must be an idiot. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Click below to subscribe to our YouTube channel, or if you want to be that way about it, don't.